Let me give you a series of updates. First and foremost, let me thank Sam Phillips, our Director of the Office of Emergency Management. We're here obviously at the Emergency Operations Center, it's the EOC. We were fully activated at 8 p.m. last night, which was the same time that we declared a snow emergency in the city of Philadelphia. And so I want to thank all the men and women of the EOC. A fantastic job you've been doing since this most recent activation, and overnight, and all day today, and obviously into tomorrow. This is the heart and soul of the Communications and Intel Center for the city of Philadelphia, but also, quite honestly, we help to coordinate naturally with our regional partners as well. And I want to thank the folks from Bucks County, Chester County, Delaware County, and Montgomery County for all their help and support as well. And certainly our state agencies that are represented here, certainly in particular PEMA and the state police, and certainly SEPTA. You'll be hearing a series of announcements from SEPTA as well. Go ahead. And PennDOT obviously represented here. A fantastic job that they've done, and particularly on the Schuylkill Expressway. As it stands now, the National Weather Service forecasts a total of 8 to 14 inches by the time the storm ends after midnight tonight. Winds are increasing and gusts could reach 30 miles an hour. Still remains a very dangerous storm that we are dealing with here in Philadelphia. We are still under a winter weather advisory until tomorrow morning. With 8.8 inches and counting recorded at Philadelphia International Airport, this winter storm has now broken a 130-year record in the city of Philadelphia for the most 6-inch plus storms in a season. We have received more than 6 inches in snowstorms than ever before, a total of 4 so far this year. Philadelphia International Airport has received about 52 inches of snow already in this season. The average for this time of year is about 22 inches, and so far this is now the 5th snowiest winter in Philadelphia recorded history. We are still operating under a snow emergency order. The Streets Department and the Philadelphia Parking Authority continue to tow vehicles from snow emergency routes. To find a relocated vehicle, call 215-686-SNOW or 7669. Do not call 911. That is only to be used for life-threatening emergencies. As I mentioned earlier, the city declared a snow emergency effective at 8 o'clock p.m. last night, and the EOC was activated at 8 p.m. last night as well. In addition to the Office of Emergency Management, agency staffing the EOC include the Streets Department, the Police Department, the Fire Department, 311, the Office of Supportive Housing, the Water Department, PGW, PICO, Parks and Recreation, L&I, Fleet Management, Public Property, the Parking Authority, PennDOT, SEPTA, Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency, PEMA, the Pennsylvania State Police, the Salvation Army, the Pennsylvania National Guard, and the American Red Cross, just to give you a sense of the complexity of dealing with these large storms, but also the seriousness with which we coordinate our efforts to make sure that every possible contingency is taken into account. SEPTA announced this morning that all bus service was suspended at 10 a.m. this morning. SEPTA representatives are here to provide updated information, and they'll be up at the podium in a moment. The Streets Department has 427 vehicles today and more than 700 personnel working and fighting this storm, which we've already seen snow, rain, some amount of sleet, and snow again. And as I mentioned yesterday, we will have about 24 straight hours of some kind of precipitation once this storm started last night. Trash and recycling collections have been suspended for today, Thursday, and tomorrow, Friday. And I really need to appeal to all of our media partners to try to get these details. And I know that we're doing different things on different days and talking about next week. But let me go over it again as we did yesterday. Residents with Thursday and Friday normal collection days, we're asking you to hold those materials until next Thursday or next Friday, whatever your regular trash day is. Trash and recycling collections will resume on Monday, February 17th, which we know is a holiday. but we are picking up normal trash collection for Monday. Trash pickup will be picked up this Monday, even though it is a holiday. People who normally get their trash picked up in the driveway, or in Philadelphia sometimes called the alley, or in the back of the house. I don't know how else we can try to explain this one. In the back of the house, whatever you call that. If your trash is normally picked up back there, all of those operations are suspended next week, the entire week. We will not pick up trash in the driveway, if that's where you normally put your trash. We're asking you to put your trash and recycling at the curbside or at the front of your home, and we will collect it next week. Collections will remain on the normal schedule next week. The residents should put their materials out on their normal collection day next week. PennDOT has reduced speeds to 45 miles an hour on all interstates, and the Delaware River Port Authority bridges have been reduced in speed to 25 miles an hour. PECO reports 87 outages in Philadelphia. That is a tremendous job by PECO, especially given what happened last week to both the city and the region. Philadelphia International Airport is open, and one runway is currently open for aircraft. They anticipate having 4 runways operational by this evening. Today, 846 flights have been canceled. People who are planning to fly should certainly call their carrier first, or 1-800-PHL-GATE, or check www.phl.org for current flight information, or of course call your carrier. Big reminder for our citizens, and then we'll have SEPT up in a second. The 311 call center is open and operational. As I mentioned yesterday, it opened at 6 o'clock a.m. today. For snow-related information or to report a downed tree, please call 311. 311 received more than 650 calls before midnight and 9 a.m. this morning. So far, we've had 5 downed tree reports and 3 downed wire reports in the city of Philadelphia. Property owners must clear a 3-foot wide path on their sidewalks within 6 hours of the end of the storm. Do not, I repeat, please do not throw snow back in the streets. A, it is disrespectful to the workers, the streets department, and public property, and parks and recreation folks, and parking authority, and everyone who is out there plowing those streets. It is disrespectful to their work to throw that snow back out of the streets. Secondly, because of the temperatures and the kind of precipitation we're having, that snow is going to freeze. It will attach itself to the roadway and become that much more difficult to get up. It is against the law. The Streets Department is monitoring, and you can be fined for doing that. Please help to clear fire hydrants, storm drains, and sidewalk corner curb cuts if your property is near one of those, or if you are out shoveling. Check on our elderly and our sick, shut-in neighbors. Please help them if they need groceries, if they need their steps cleared or their sidewalk or something like that, or just check on them to make sure that they're doing okay. This is that time when we ask for our best in showing that we are the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. Please check on all the folks who are out there. Code Blue designation remains in effect. To report a homeless person in need of assistance, please call the Project Home Outreach Hotline, 215-232-1984. Don't forget to make sure that your pets are in a safe and warm place as well. And to the young people of Philadelphia, given that you have a day off, grab a shovel. There is much money to be made all across the city of Philadelphia that will help you with your college tuition or anything else that you might have going into the future. There's a lot of snow out there. Grab a shovel. Do a good deed for somebody in the city. With that, let me have SEPTA come up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jeff Kneppel, Deputy General Manager for SEPTA. As the Mayor said, we had to suspend bus service this morning at 10 a.m. We are expecting to restore service on 10 routes. These routes all feed the Broad Street Subway and the Market Frankfurt line. And we hope to run that from 3 to 10 p.m. unless problems arise. Those routes are the 6, the 14, the 17, the 21, the 23, the 52, the 56, the 59, the 66, and the 79. It may not be the entire route, but we ran people this morning. We want to get them back to where they need to go tonight, so those 10 routes will run. Our trolleys are running well and have been. Hopefully, icing won't cause problems for them. The Media Sharon Hill line has likewise been running well. The Norristown High-Speed line, where it's powered by third rail down near the ground, that has had difficulties. Currently, we're only running from 69th Street to Bryn Mawr, so service remains shaky there, and you should, of course, check our website and our social media that we send out for updates. What's really been reliable and your best bet is the Broad Street Subway and the Market Frankfurt Subway Elevated. They've run overnight last night. We did not run the Owl buses. They've been running fine since last night, today, and we're going to work to have them run again tonight. So no Owl bus service. We are substituting regular rail service on the Broad Street Subway and Market Frankfurt Subway Elevated. We suspended CCT service except for dialysis and medical appointments. The railroad got off to a rough start this morning, but crews got in place after a while, and Amtrak switch failures that had affected us were taken care of. So we're running everywhere. We have 30 to 60-minute delays. We are running hourly service, though, to the airport only at this time. We're working on a modified schedule at 3 p.m. Ridership's light. We're actually able to run the railroad better and not throw as many switches and make things more reliable. So we're going to be modifying our schedule that starts around 3 p.m. We'll be putting out information on that. And at 10 p.m. tonight, we'll be in the process of starting to shut down the railroad early based on not wanting people to get stranded anywhere on portions of the system if we have problems and we have difficulty getting people to rescue them. The buses will also stop running at 10 p.m. So that's whether your bus or the railroad. Because of the suspension of the bus service today, we have been accepting transit fare instruments on the regional rail. And then tomorrow, we're going to continue, as the mayor said, these conditions are very dynamic and changing constantly. So we'll be linking up again and giving more information a little bit later today. But certainly, we're concerned about what levels of service and how our employees will be able to get in position in the morning. Thank you.
Dave Perry.
Good afternoon. Streets Department mobilized at 10 p.m. last night to begin snow fighting operations for this most recent event. We deployed 437 vehicles citywide in a major snow plowing operation. This morning, we plowed all the majors, all the primary and secondary routes. They are generally passable with snow cover. We have some hard pack that is developed on these streets that we are currently running a salting operation to break that down, and then we will be replowing those streets again to remove the slush that will form. The word of the day is patience. We are deploying everything that we have to fight this storm. We ask that if you don't have to drive today, please don't. But if you're out there on the roads, use patience, give our plow trains enough room to maneuver, and we will clear these roads as quickly as we can. We are also running what we call our residential operation concurrently with our primary and secondary operation, which means that we will get to the residential streets throughout the city. Generally, it takes us much longer to clear those streets. It usually takes us about 2 to 3 days after a storm event is over for us to reach all the residential streets, but it is in our plan, and we will get to those streets over the course of this event.
Sam Phillips.
Hi, good afternoon. The mayor and Commissioner Perry and Jeff have all explained sort of the difficulty with a storm like this that brings lots of different types of precipitation. Moving into the afternoon and overnight hours, we're really going to be monitoring just the amount of moisture on the ground and potential down trees and down wires that can result from that. We are really forward leaning with this storm because we're just sort of unsure about the amount of snow we're getting on the back end. Anywhere from 1 to 4 inches has been forecasted. We're also looking forward into the weekend, and we're going to be dealing with some cold temperatures again, potentially a little bit more snow through the weekend. Nothing significant like today, but still all of these compounding factors really require us to have all agencies moving in the same direction and working strategically to make sure that we can get the city back to its full status as soon as possible. Moving into tonight and tomorrow, we're going to really make some strategic decisions about working with the school district and regarding city employees, and so we just ask you that you stay tuned for those updates as well.
Thanks. With that, why don't we open for Q&A for the things that we can answer.
Mr. Mayor, could we find out specifically about SEPTA, those 10 bus lines? What neighborhoods generally, Jeff, are they in?
I can read all 10. Yeah, at the Route 6, Cheltenham and Ogontz Loop to Olney Transportation Center. Route 14, Oxford Valley and Neshaminy Malls to Frankfurt Transportation Center. Route 17, Front Market to 20th and Johnson or Broad and Pattison. 21, Penn's Landing to 69th Street Transportation Center. 23, Broad and Oregon to Chestnut Hill. Route 52, 49th and Woodland to 54th. 49th and Woodland to 54th and City or 50th and Parkside. Route 56, 23rd and Venango to Torresdale and Cottman. Route 59, Castor and Bustleton to Arrett Transportation Center. Route 66, Frankfurt and Knights to Frankfurt Transportation Center. And Route 79, Columbus Commons to 29th and Snyder.
And just to follow, so the entire bus and regional rails begin to shut down at 10 p.m.?
10 p.m.
The entire system.
Even the ones that from 1 to 3 are going to shut down at 10?
Yes.
And then you'll evaluate it to see what happens when you will restore service?
Right. I mean, there's going to be another press conference later today, and we'll be looking at what we should be doing tomorrow. Broad Street Subway, Market Frankfurt, they run overnight. Do not stop. City trolleys also will keep moving. It's the bus lines that stop at 10 and the regional rail that will stop around 10.
Everybody got that? Bus lines, regional rail. Market Frankfurt and Broad Street keep running even overnight.
On the 10 buses you mentioned, are they running now or will be a time
They'll
when
be
they will
up
start?
we're starting around 3 o'clock and working to run them all the way till 10. Some of them may be shorter, they may not be the full route, they may be truncated a little bit, but those are the ones that we want to try to operate.
Depending on the traffic conditions out in the street. I mean, the drivers have to make that decision. Mike?
Is the fact that we're getting another band of snow going to make it more difficult for you to announce decisions about tomorrow, like you did yesterday around 5 p.m.? Or are you going to, is it going to push those decisions?
I think what Sam was communicating was that the quote-unquote additional, yesterday we said we're going to have about 24 hours of some level of participation. So we know that more snow is coming as a part of this storm, and then it will stop. What Sam Phillips was referring to was another band of snow over the weekend. So that decision has, obviously no real impact on tomorrow.
But the additional snow today or this evening, is that going to make your decision about tomorrow? Is that going to push that back?
It absolutely affects our decision about tomorrow, and it's a couple things. It's how much we're able to get done today, how much more snow we're getting today, how much more possibly wet precipitation we're getting, and the dropping temperatures. All of those factors together will affect the decision, but we'll make the call, and we'll make it a little later on today. We've got another roundup going amongst ourselves later on today, and we'll make a very public announcement. We have other agencies, obviously, that we have to coordinate with. We have to talk to the school district, we have to talk to the archdiocese, talk to the business community, our own internal agencies, the city government, courts, everything else. So that's a little bit of a peek into all the folks that are affected by the kind of, the decisions that we make with regard to the city. Anything else?
Are you concerned about the cost of all of this?
I'm always concerned about the cost of these kinds of events, but that is trumped by our responsibility to our citizens to make sure, A, that they are safe, B, that we can get the city up and running, C, certainly whether it's getting school children to school or folks to their jobs or whatever the case may be. I can assure you, with every great respect to Rob DeBoe and his team, they are not involved in the decisions about how many personnel, how much equipment, or anything else. We fight storms. It's what we do. We're a government, and we're a team here. And so we do that, and we settle up on what the cost was a little later on. But we do not factor that into the decision about how many people or how much equipment or personnel go out to fight these storms. We fight storms, and I think we do a pretty good job at it, and our folks are hardworking. They are storm warriors, and I'm very, very proud of them. Anything else? Okay, we'll be back in touch shortly, give you an update about tonight and what we're looking at for tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
Mayor, can we get the lady's name?